Welcome everybody to the Inner Vibers Club. If you're on YouTube, to the Divine Feminine Ascension Council. I'm here with my beautiful soul sisters, Bianca and Eartha, and we're joined by a few friends. And we are going to discuss today, it's always about the energy. If you've ever been with us before, we talk about the energy of the planet, the energy of this ascension going on of humanity. And right now, I think we all noticed that a lot of people are talking about not being able to connect to their guides right now, or not feeling like they are, not hearing them, not receiving guidance when they really need it. So that's what we wanted to discuss today, our own perspectives. So I will let somebody else dive in first. Whoever wants to.
Okay, I'll go.
Go for it. Eartha wins.
Yeah, so I just a little bit of like background, I guess, is that, like, you know, as you guys are aware, I am new to the spiritual path, or relatively new to spiritual path compared to a lot of folks I've met. And but I had like a rapid awakening / extension, like crazy things happening to me, spiritual, like ascension into where I am now, the level that I'm at now. And
yeah, you were definitely thrown off the cliff.
Yeah, and I just and so then I consider myself to be a channel. I consider myself to be, you know, of service to spirit, and that's what I do every day, like on a daily basis. I ask my guides, how can I be of service? How can I be of service to humanity? And you know, and that has come during my ascension process. That was coming in the form of my YouTube channel, which is called Friendly Neighborhood Goddess, and you know, putting out light language activations, you know, I had a course that I was teaching, and I was doing, you know, personal guidance and stuff. And then but that's kind of like, and then I got thrown right again into another loop of things. And now I've been kind of stuck, like still trying to do those things and not having any success, like not having any clients, not having any like inspiration for my writing necessarily, you know, and I've been feeling really like stuck in this energy, and I think everyone has. But this is just how it's manifesting for me. And so this month, I think now finally, which I'm a Pisces, so I'm always like, it's always March is always my new year. Yeah, March is always my new year because I'm Pisces. But this is my new year. This is time for the energy to get unstuck. And, you know, I had envisioned that my unstuckness, we knew unstuckness was coming, right? Because you can't stay stuck forever. So we've been feeling this through January, through February. We've been feeling this like, we're just like so heavy. We're so overwhelmed. We can't speak to our guides. No one's telling us anything. No one's guiding us. You know, I don't feel inspired. I don't feel Yeah, I just feel alone and empty. Like, hello, universe. And
anybody home?
And then
has anyone there? Yeah. I'm like, damn it, what did I do?
And then now, and so, but I expected my unstuckness to come in the form of being inspired to finish my book, or being inspired to do another course with someone, or something along the lines of my spiritual, what I consider to be my spiritual business, quote unquote, or whatever, right? But it hasn't happened that way. Like, it just hasn't. And what it has come instead is in the form of me, you know, reconnecting to plants, reconnecting to into a job where I feel secure, in a job where I feel like I have a community of people, and kind of like reintroducing myself to all these new concepts that I am in now, because I moved and all these other big changes have happened to me. And so it's like, even though it wasn't what I expected it to be, the movement, I have to come to terms with the fact that this is where I am now. And this is the movement that is happening now, instead of, maybe I did want this other thing, but it doesn't mean that I can't have it. It just means that I'm, where I'm at now is where it is, the universe is showing me what I need right now. Maybe it's that sometimes we think we can't hear our guides because it's not what we want to hear.
Yeah.
I guess,
absolutely,
is what I'm saying.
That is
right?
Definitely the case sometimes. Right.
Right. I can't hear you. And they're like,
I'm sorry, did you say
this?
Go this way? No, I don't think that's what you said. Why aren't you answering me? Yeah. Oh, we're so adorable, us humans. And the darn expectations, right? Like the minute, but we get on a path. Okay, we're on this path. It actually feels kind of easy, or maybe easier than, life has been recently. So we think we're going to keep going that way for a while. And it's like you said, it just isn't. We really have to let go of expectations. But, we talk, like we all three of us work with clients, and I tell my clients every day, oh, you can't let go of expectations. But does that mean I can do it? Heck no. Like I still fall into that too, where I'm like, I want to write a book. Like you, Eartha, we both have books that we've got, sitting on our table. So we're like, well, I want to write this, but 90% of the time I have zero motivation to do it.
Right. Yeah.
That 10% is usually 2 a.m. or I'm in the shower, or the inopportune times, or I'm driving.
Yeah,
or,
mine is always like, I have my children.
Yes, yeah.
with me
they want to play a board game. Oh, but I'm feeling motivated to work on this story now. So yeah, it's that we fall back into that. Okay, I know what I'm doing, right? Okay, this is good. I know what's going on now. And they always are reminding us to stop, to let go of control of it, right? Or of needing to control it in any way,
Right.
shape, or form. And the big message I've been getting too is that stop, because I still get that perspective of my guides being outside of me somewhere, of God being outside of me somewhere, out there, unattainable, unreachable. And I have to tune in, and I have to reach out, and I have to clear my mind, and that's a bunch of crap. Right? It's all within. It's all within. So I've been kind of guided to really just kind of visualize everything, all my guides, God, the universe, everything in my heart space, just as kind of a starting point for me to start realizing that it's all in me. But it's, again, we can say it till we're blue in the face, and I'm great at giving advice. But do I subscribe to my own? I try, right? Like we believe it, we know it, but we're still, we may be unplugged from the matrix, but we're still existing within it. And we can be pulled back into that old familiar energy of, oh, I know what I'm doing now. And then that's when they'll knock you off where what you think was your course. That's when they'll knock you off, knock you over and go, nope, go this way now. So it's more like a Mario Kart than a nice long country road. It's
right.
more like, nope, go this way. Now go this way. Sharp left. It's like,
yeah. And I think that a lot of that too comes from like these directional changes that we've all, like, since I've been awake, I have made huge like physical changes in my physical being, the location that I live, the people that I surround myself with. And we have all been doing that, right? Since 2020, because we're trying to come into this alignment. And, but I need to let go of, or what I think sometimes people, like, the resistance comes up because you think, oh, I'm going backwards. Like I felt that for the last couple of days or so, I'm going backwards. I'm going back into 3D. I'm getting a job. I'm doing this, this 3D matrix thing. But it's not, I need to let go of the fact that like that's somehow that's somehow going backwards. Everything is forwards. Everything is, everything is right. Yeah. And everything is in a plan that I don't know. And I need to let it, but somewhere inside me does know.
That's right? The part I don't like.
Inside me, I know.
It's in there somewhere.
Inside me, there's a little person, there's a big person, there's a giant universe that says, hey, everything is an option. Everything is
Yeah.
possible,
And this job is
right?
just a sharp left, right? Instead of what
Yeah.
you thought you were seeing, oh, well, I'm going to write this book. I'm going to make a living off
Hmm.
writing the book. I'm totally seeing that too. And again, like you said, doesn't mean we're not going to get it. And we
Right.
have to keep in
Yeah.
mind too that I always get reminded that we may be ready for something, but the world is not, right? Like we have come into this world with this huge energy, and I've been told so many times, you have such big energy. You come into the room, and everybody notices when I come into the room, and I always hated that, right? Because I was very shy. I never wanted to be the center of attention, but I knew my energy was huge, and so we forget how much power we have with that. When we just moving around, just being here, with this big energy, but we forget that sometimes it's too big for the people around us, and we have to kind of let them catch up a little bit. No matter how ready we are, like I'm so ready to get my book out, and I have another book that I've already, I'm kind of working on three at once, and I just keep hearing patience, right? Not yet, not yet. That's the phrase I can hear over and over. Not yet, not yet. Like I could finish it, I could sit down and force myself, right? We could force ourselves to finish our books, but would they be the best they could be if we did that? Or do we need to wait till each section is kind of almost channeled, through us for what the world needs? Because we know our books, we want them to be change makers, right? We don't just want them to be some fiction story in a library shelf somewhere. We're writing them because we feel like they will change people's lives, hopefully,
Right.
and not
Yeah.
just be plain old stories. But yeah, definitely. Dee, feel free to jump in because the three of us could talk forever, but we would love to meet you.
Hi guys, I'm Key.
Hi.
I've been on this journey for a little over 3 years now that I'm aware, as we
Yes.
all are always on it.
Well,
But
welcome to the circus.
for real, it's an amazing journey, and I don't know why I was called into this room, but I'm here, um, and I love it because I always used to struggle with the fact that I say I can't hear my guides, but I hear them constantly.
Right.
And Eartha, I think it was you, Eartha, who said that, or no, it was you, Wendy, that said that they're inside of us. We fail to realize that sometimes that they're accessible and they're not outside of us, and we always are tending to look outside
Right.
for these signs and synchronicities and the clarity when it is right in our heart. They're right in our heart space. We have accessibility to them 24/7, and we just have to be willing to trust ourselves, and not seek outside validation when it comes to our soul purpose and our divine being and essence of our team. And that is a big struggle for everyone, and it was for me as well. Um, I know for the past few days, my guides have actually really truly been quiet, um,
Yeah.
just
We've
because
been
of the
talking about that
energies.
too. It does feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the energies in the collective that have been, especially when we hold a higher vibration. I'm noticing that my, my guides personally, have been wanting me to just be in relaxed mode because I
Yeah.
transmute a lot of things
Mm,
for people. Um, and it's just like don't over worry yourself because you're just doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So just relax and breathe and
right. We
enjoy
don't
the
like
free
that, right? We
time
don't
of
like to be told to just
no.
go take a nap. I'm like,
I
but I have all
don't.
this
I
beautiful
don't.
energy I want to share, right? And they keep reminding
Right.
us that
I'm not used to sitting still.
us just being here, like, we talk about this all the time, is we wouldn't have to do a damn thing. Our very presence is aiding this ascension. But we decided, to choose these beautiful, fun, adventurous missions too, and we're just anxious to get going. And they're like, just a minute, it'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. But I just wanted to share that,
Yes, well,
and I thank
welcome.
you
Thank
guys
you.
for having this room.
Yeah, we try to be here every Tuesday. Sometimes it doesn't happen. It all depends. Like we also try to honor our own journeys, right? And with so much going on, there are definitely Tuesdays that come along that, the three of us are like, nope, can't get on Clubhouse today, but we do try to do this every Tuesday at this time. So we would love to see you here and invite some friends. It's usually a pretty small group, and we like that. But we also do, want new soul family to. It's time for us to find each other, right? It's time for us to really kind of hone in on our groups. I think we lost Eartha. Hopefully, she's coming back.
And Dee, I really like what you said, because I was going to say that as well when there was like kind of moment of, the perfect fit. And I guess you just gave it to me when you said that it's been awfully quiet the last days, and it really has been. And what I'm seeing is that there is a lot of emotion that is being triggered and released right now on Earth, particularly with this new scenario that we have been given, the war scenario. I'm going to name it like this, right? It triggers a lot of trauma in people. I'm observing this here in Europe, especially because we're so close to everything. And I feel that right now it's just really so important that we are allowing and holding space for the emotions that are coming up. So as you said, there's not so much that needs to be done right now in terms of action. It's more about holding space for humanity right now as we're going through these emotional waters, and as people are releasing emotions that still need to be transmuted, right? Because we don't want them flying around and tagging on to the next person. We're always
Yeah.
trying to transmute things.
We don't want to just project. We can't just give it away to somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that's what's happening as well. So even though with moving will come, promise, right? We always say that, but we promise
Yes.
there will be a time where there is going to be more energy and more action. However, with this new, I'm calling it just shadow release, right? That's happening right now. There's more compassion from us needed, compassion, empathy, love, holding the balance and just holding space for the world, right? As all of
Right.
this unfolds.
And that feels
And I
stagnant
feel
to
that's
us,
why,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
it
that's
can.
why our guides are not like, okay, do this, do this, do this, because they really want us to tune into the emotions. And I feel they also reminding us that maybe this is a good time to revisit some stuff within ourselves and not go into spiritual bypassing by saying, oh, let me just feel all wonderful and let me just, have this high vibration all the time. Well, maybe there's still some stuff that is triggered there within us. And so they're not wanting us to get distracted, right, from what is actually
Yeah.
going on
And there's
within.
still quite a bit of inner
Yep.
work to be done for light workers,
Yeah.
no matter where you are. It's funny too, because I remember when I first learned the term spiritual bypassing, I was like, oh well, I'm
Yeah.
so hyper aware of it now. I will never do that. And you
Anything
fall into
more in
it.
our families.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
We do,
Yeah.
and I definitely find myself doing it, and I get caught up in, my personal situation. I'm a mom of four. I homeschool. I'm currently living in an RV, and so it's a small space and a very busy life just with kids in general. And I can get kind of pulled into that 3D energy of the housewife, of the mom and the housewife. And I get to the end of the day and I've done no, self care. I've done, I haven't meditated, anything like that. And I get pulled into the have tos of the 3D world. And
Mhm.
that I've found that is kind of my go-to spiritual bypassing is no, I have to do dishes, right? Or I have to, I have to engage, with the kids, like, rather than taking time for me. And so that's kind of my personal
Mm.
Yeah, I've been
shortcut, right?
going
But
through
it
that.
doesn't
My
work.
guides have, right? My guides have like been, I guess not testing, but running me through the little obstacle course of endurance
Mm.
and strengthening.
Good. Yeah.
I'm laughing at myself because I've been failing.
I was going to say, because we feel like we fail every test, right? Like, oh,
Oh, I'm cracking
I
up.
always say, how many tries do I get? I know, because I know I failed that one.
Oh my gosh, yes, because I've always been constant with yoga and meditation to the T. Like, there's no doubt. I meditate 2 or 3 times a day. I'm doing my yoga, even if it's 20 minutes, or
Yeah.
doing some kind of exercise constantly. And these past few days have been, it's almost been a little bit of a week,
Yeah.
but it's been absolutely frustrating. And I don't, like, I pull out the yoga mat, I get ready to do it, and I just get sidetracked and I'm like, I don't want to do it. Okay, whatever. So I'm like, all right, if I'm not going to do my yoga, I have to walk. I have to walk. I have to do something. And my body, and I don't know, I'm just getting this push and pull. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
you know what? We're going to figure this out. And I know it's the energies. I know it's not me. And I know it's the energies as a collective. But, I'm in a new environment right now because I'm on this journey and I'm, you know, gonna be traveling back, in my car. So it's like right now I'm in a house and I feel like this is a part of my guides were telling me since you're in the house, you should really need to relax your body and just get all the rest because you're gonna be on the road and that is the time that you're gonna need all that body flow and those in that yoga
Right.
practice and that walking. They're like just zen it out and just be in relax mode. It's okay to breathe and relax. You're not drifting away. And I don't know why.
But no, we're
I feel like
superheroes.
somebody
We
needs
can't.
to hear that.
Yeah.
Right. And somebody must need to hear this message because it's like I know this. And I'm not like, really pounding myself for not doing exercise or I'm meditating but I end up falling asleep anyway during
But that
meditation.
counts. As far as I'm concerned,
Yeah,
that's a
it
deep
does. It does
meditation.
count. It does count. I know it counts. But it's like I'm used to writing and journaling, and my guys are like, no, it's okay. Sometimes we do need to take a spiritual break. It doesn't take us away
Yes.
from our spiritualness or our spiritual
Yeah,
being or the wholeness or oneness that we are.
yeah,
Right.
It just gives us the ability to be human. And
yeah.
that's what we need to realize. We are human. We're here for an experience, and it doesn't make us less than whole if we just take a
Right.
pause from our ascension processes or our spiritual practices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have high expectations of ourselves, right? Because of the mission that we have
Mhm.
undertaken, and we are no less human than the human beings here going through this process for the first time. But we
Yeah.
forget that. Even I forget that. And it doesn't mean that I have, like, I definitely don't feel like I'm better than they are. Most of the time I'm envying, right? Like, oh, to not have any clue
Mm,
what's going on right now.
true.
Wouldn't that
Yeah.
be refreshing? But at the same time, it's
Mhm.
nice to know what's happening. But yeah, we can know a thing and how to do this, and then we find ourselves not doing it, not doing it that way.
And
Like, okay, back on track.
then sometimes we also put too much focus.
I think I
So here to be human and to be in the human experience. So the question is, if we're having a day where we're not doing spiritual practices, are we bringing awareness to the activities that we're doing anyways? Like cleaning the house or washing
right,
the dishes. Are we beating ourselves up because we're doing this right now and not meditating? Or are we just tuning in and saying, you know what, I'm embracing the human experience and there's still something for me here to learn. And sometimes, spiritual bypassing is also that, we're
right.
bypassing the experiences of the human world because it's hard for some of us to just be human,
Absolutely. And
you
it's not
know?
even the activity, right? It's our perspective of it, because I now can be in the state where washing dishes, vacuuming, even cleaning bathrooms can be a meditation.
Yes, yes, that is
Yeah.
so true. That's
Right.
how I
So it's
started.
all how you
Mhm.
perceive it, right? Hey, we've got a couple people that have popped in. Soul Scribe Omaria, if you want to jump in, we're just talking about kind of really what we're experiencing this last week, the last few days, about maybe feeling like our guides are being difficult, playing hard to get. But really, what's happening is, and anytime for me too, I know anytime I notice that maybe I don't feel like they're responding, they're really telling me, you know, the answer. Like, stop asking the same question over and over again. You know what to do, you know the answer. And so for me, I've kind of stopped. Like, I used to have this mantra where I'd say, when I was meditating, or if I was having a day, right, if it was even just a moment and I needed to try to calm down, and I would say, show me the way. And just the other day, they're telling me to flip it now to, I know the way, because they're within me. So of course, I know the way. I just have to move all this other crap out of the way so I can see it. So nobody
Yeah,
has to
that's
show us,
moving
right?
from that's just like you were saying before, Wendy, where you're saying you're moving from thinking externally, like we talk about our guides, right? Like, or we even imagine them in our, I think when it helps to try to connect by imagining that your guides are like some thing that is out external
Yeah.
to us,
Yeah.
God
It
or
does serve
or
us for
even
a time.
energy
Yeah.
movement, or yeah, Archangel Michael. I'm always talking to Archangel Michael. I know you are too.
Yeah.
But even but that's Archangel Michael is inside me.
Yep.
He's inside you. He's inside
He's just
everybody.
an
He's not out.
aspect
He's
of
not
us,
like
right?
floating on a cloud. He's just an aspect of
What?
ourselves. Yeah, I
But
know,
I
it's
like to see him as a big
so
buff warrior dude. So that's
crazy.
how I see him, because
But then, so if you want to think of
excuse me.
him that way, then think of him as you as
Right.
that way,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like, don't just think, well, Michael is a big buff warrior dude. Say, I am Michael and I am a big buff warrior dude. And
Right.
that is how you know the way, because you are him and he is
Yeah.
you.
Amen, sister.
So that's, I think, so hard. I think that's really like one of the things about spirituality that I hear so often, especially with people who are very religious or grew up, with religion, which I did not. So
Mm.
it's, that doesn't resonate with me at all. So it's always a disconnect and I even used to, that's for so long I denied spirituality because of that, because I was
Right.
like,
I
there
thought it
is
was the same thing. Yeah.
not a person in, the clouds telling us what to do. There just isn't.
And it's definitely
And,
not an old white man. Like, if we can just
yeah,
dispel that right now,
he's
right? Like,
definitely not an old white man.
seriously.
and 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 so, but then once I experienced what I have experienced, as far as like, I guess what you would say, like supernatural things that have happened to me,
Definitely.
now I know that that I am God. I am a goddess. And when I chose that name for myself for my business, it was because I wanted to remind myself
Yeah.
constantly that I am God
Yeah.
and you are God and we are all God, and God is everywhere. It's in a leaf, it's in a rock, it's in every energetic molecule inside of us. And yeah, and so when we say our guides are not, we're not our guides are not talking to us, we can't hear our guides, we can't
Right.
hear ourselves, we're not listening to
Exactly.
ourselves.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah.
So
we
And
won't
we
we
do
won't
that
ever
often,
forsake
right?
ourselves.
Yeah, we
right.
get an intuition and then we're like, oh, wow, but should I really do this, right? Then comes all the programming that is in the way of us actually doing what our intuition is saying. Maybe it
Mm-hmm.
is, what is my husband gonna think? Or what is this person gonna think? Or how am I gonna make this happen, right? Like, as soon as there's still some programming, we get an intuition, the programming will also start. And this is
Yes.
where we're asked to really just pay attention, right? Pay attention to the difference in energy between our intuition our intuition is like, for me, I feel it between like my heart center and my stomach. It's kind of this beautiful energy that gets me feeling loved and excited, and it's expansive. And then there's a programming, and the programming just feels restrictive, right? And that's how we sometimes feel that we're not hearing our guides, is because we're neglecting our intuition. And as you say, Eartha, if we're not listening to that, then we're not listening to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right. And what
and we can feel like
our
we're
greatest
in a
wants
prison.
for ourselves.
Yeah. And it's a self-imposed. Any prison, spiritually that we've ever been in, we built that ourselves, and maybe initially for protection, maybe initially just to be able to check out, but no one can remove that. And then you gotta get to the vibration where you realize that there is no prison, there never was, and it's an illusion. But sometimes we have to work through that visualization of knocking down that prison. But before we can do that, we have to realize that we built that, nobody else did. Yeah. We've got some people chilling. If anybody wants to jump in here, I'm trying to get everybody, at least invite you on stage, but please don't feel, obligated to do so. If you're just here chilling and listening, welcome. This conversation is recorded, just FYI, because we put it on our YouTube channel, which is called Divine Feminine Ascension Council, where you can find all of the conversations we've had in here. We started doing that before they had the playback option in here, or the replay option in here. And so, and we just enjoy having a channel. So you can, if you are enjoying this conversation, you can find more of Bianca and Eartha and I on that YouTube channel. We talk about anything and everything Ascension, energy. We tend to be very aligned, the three of us, in what we're going through. We're definitely soul family. And so we try to put this information out there. But if anybody wants to jump in, please feel free to do so and share your experience. How is this last week going for you?
Yeah, because we're really also here in this space to just be for each other and be with each other. So we're in a space of non-judgmental.
Absolutely. This is a safe place. Yeah, we've all been through. We've had the three of us have had three very different, lives, very different experiences, and yet, growth-wise, we've managed to be pretty aligned and be able to support each other. So we're just here to share that kind of safe container that we create for each other. So if anybody wants to share, who wants to share, kind of what they're going through. But Badat, I hope I'm saying that right, please.
Yes. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Bianca. Hi, Eartha.
Hello.
Hi, Sylvia. Hi, Socrates. Hi, everyone here. And thank you very much for having me here on the stage. And this is my name is Badas, and I'm from Germany. So my English not so good. I'm not native speaker. That's why
you're doing great.
I just try my best. Okay. So you say we can speak everything, every topic. And your question is how was my last wish? Currently, maybe I don't know how about your feeling in America, but almost people in Europe have the feeling a little not so good because war between Russia and Ukraine, and but my feeling is now is okay, it's stable. I don't have fear. I worry, maybe I have a little worry for the peace of the world, and of course I am so little not so happy to see there are lots of refugee on the refugee from Ukraine, which other country is terrible, but I just focus on the positive side. I hope maybe the peace will come near. maybe let's see, and the energy I think in this situation at the moment we can I just with my experience I think we should I think we should communicate with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's mean inside, focus on inside, and then we can keep calm, and it's a good time to make meditation, and to good time to look in for our meaning of light, and focus on our maybe our mission and our vision of life. Then we can improve, we can involve ourselves maybe better, and that is the positive side. I think currently we can do that, and also the energy. If we focus on the good thing and we are busy for that, and then that means we can create the positive energy, and we can use this energy maybe to share for other people, and then make the energy flow from one to other people, and then we can build a positive energy in the community and our society, and that is very good. It's amazing in a community with a very positive and the good psychology and good mindset, and that is all I want to share.
Yes.
I'm done speaking.
Definitely, yes. Absolutely. I know all of us agree with that, and that's what we're doing here, right? Is to raise. We were talking earlier. I don't know if you were already in the room, but we were talking about how we really, those of us who know, we're kind of here to help, right? Like we don't really have to do anything. We could just be here and we help raise the vibration, but we have this, this push, this pull, this need to do more than that. And but even when we are in our own stuff, our vibration is helping this whole situation. And I it's interesting that you brought up the Ukraine. Actually, Bianca and Eartha and I were discussing this morning through Marco Polo, which we talk a lot in that platform. And I guess I asked Bianca, if it's okay, I want to ask you to share kind of your perspective. I know we had very similar perspectives of it, but kind of what you saw when you tune into what's going on over there, because Bianca's in Austria, so not too far away either. I have the luxury of being in America. We have a whole ocean, and it feels very far away to a lot of us over here. So yeah, Bianca, go ahead and just speak to what you saw about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bada, thank you for mentioning this. And I do see that happening here a lot, that it's triggering the survival fear in people. And I'm observing this in Austria, and I'm fairly certain it's the same with Germany. It's kind of like a backslash into our history. That's what we're feeling inside us, right? That we're being told by war in Europe, because it's very close to where we're living. And at the same time, it's giving us an opportunity to choose differently. It's giving us an opportunity to not react in compassion, in fear. That's what I wanted to say, not to react in fear. I'm choosing my words, trying to choose my words. It's giving us a chance to act with compassion and to look at what is separating us. Like, we faced a lot of separation in the past, north from south, east from west, and we're now being shown the same in the Ukraine, because what's really happening in the Ukraine is a war between the east and the west. At least that's how I'm seeing it, right? We're having Russia, who wants the Ukraine being close to them, who wants to be in the east, right? Who wants them to be the eastern region. And then you have another part of the Ukraine that actually wants to be closer to the European Union. So it is more or less a war that is happening within a country. That's how I'm seeing it, because a lot of the people in the Ukraine are actually feeling like they're very close to Russia, right? I don't know the percentage, and don't take me on this because I'm not there either. That's what I'm kind of feeling, and that's what I'm experiencing. So it's not really, because even though it kind of is, they're making it a lot bigger than it actually is. And I'm not playing it small, I know that people are suffering. However, it doesn't help us to get drowned by fear, because if we're drowning in fear, we're not able to take action. And we're asked to take action, right? We're asked to support those people. We're getting refugees in already, and we're asked to support those people and to bring compassion and empathy and love. And the more we do that, the more we're just holding light and love, the more people will start to feel safe in Europe. Doesn't matter where they are. The more we're holding that vibration, the people will be able to feel that vibration of safety, stability, and brotherhood and sisterhood, right? It's another chance for us to bring East and West together.
Right.
We had the wall through Germany, which you're knowing about, but not if you're German, right? So we had a lot of separation, and this is bringing up energy from the past for us to look at again, and to look at how can we bring things closer together instead of further apart.
Yeah, a lot of war trauma over there that is being healed, and I agree. I feel like this is just, part of that coming through. And it's okay, like you said, not to say that we shouldn't be sending them, positive vibes or whatever. I know people roll their eyes at that, but, energy, everything is energy. And, I've had people say, oh, if you want to really help me, really help me. And I'm like, you don't understand that sometimes that's all we can do. And we need to realize how powerful that can be. And so we definitely still want to send, all the positive vibes we can, but it's also okay to, like for me, we were talking about this earlier, it's also okay to feel more like you're an observer and not get pulled in to the divisiveness, to the division, to the, well, who should I support? And, we probably all have people in our lives who are like, well, you have to pick a side. And you know what? I'm done with that. I'm done picking sides. I am an observer for this situation. And again, like I said, I have the luxury of being in America. I don't watch the news. I actually forget that it's going on. Again, not to diminish what's happening, but until I get on Facebook, whatever, which I try not to do very often. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's going on. And I'll send, all the positive juju I can. But ultimately, surrendering is all we can do. Surrendering to the universal plan, and not that we're not, powerful, but there's a difference between the power that we have and trying to control everything on this planet. That we don't know, like Eartha was saying, we don't know what the plan is. We don't know. Oftentimes, somewhere deep in there, we do, and our inner GPS will always take us in that direction. We may veer off here and there, but we're always going in that direction.
I think it's time. I think it's time for us to also, or especially maybe for me, I'm just feeling like someone energy, and to have someone's response. If someone's response to me is that, well, I would really appreciate something else, or that's, bunk or silliness or whatever, then that's their, then they're, send them love and move on from that, because that is a thing that Wendy, when you bring that up, it's like, that's something that I have experienced as well, and throughout my whole life. And sending energy, like, we know for a fact now.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of negative. There's also a lot of negative energy around us, and
Sure.
I think that's why I think we should select, we should choose to get the positive energy, and then we'll make this, we use this energies useful and to invite in order to build a very good positive energy community around us is very important currently, you know. And
Yes,
and
definitely.
what, because it's very difficult to change all the thoughts, all the message. That's why this thing, the first we just focus on ourselves, and then the second step is to choose the positive energy, and in this energy to invite to bigger, and then we can attract all the negative energy and train this energy. It's more easier when we just do that in the first. And also I think is not just energy, because I want to say not just energy, is maybe about more about the just and take action, and then we can show off for other people who we are, and what we truly want to do, and what we want to give the value for all the people, for our community. And that is more, I think that is more meaningful, more helpful for other people, and then we can attract the good people into us, and then we can build energy. That's what I just say. Yes.
Absolutely. You know, it's all about the inner journey, and the more we, you know, we always say you're not responsible for anybody's journey but your own, ever. You know, and if you ever have a feeling that you are, then there's probably some sort of contract there that you need to look at, and you know, we do like energetic visualizations, you know, where we burn contracts that are no longer serving us. And so if you know, are in, yeah, definitely, I agree, it's all about going in. It's all because everything's in there.
Yeah, and you know, it's also a good idea to focus on what you actually can change and what you can do. Is there something that I can do right now to take away the weapons in Russia and Ukraine? I cannot, right? But what I can do is I can offer people support as much as I can right now. And it doesn't help and it doesn't serve anyone if I go into fear. What if they're also attacking us? It doesn't help anyone because it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So it's always better to be in the present and to react to something that is actually happening, rather than projecting something that could happen but hasn't already yet happened.
Right.
You know,
and the law of attraction, right? Focusing on, oh, what if they come for us next? That's, you know, focusing on
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. Yes, because what we just can't do that. And I think the first step we should accept the true situation. And then when we accept that means we have a neutral view, and then we make a right decision in this case. And then what we can do, and then we just give the best and do something maybe meaningful and maybe helpful for the people. And that's why that's why what we can do, we just do the best. Yes, absolutely agree with you, Bianca.
I want to, because we are coming to the end of the hour. Sylvia is here, and I noticed she's maybe wanting to. I noticed you unmuted, girl. So I want to give you a chance to talk and share. You know, if you have anything to contribute, I'm sure you do. We'd love to hear from you, Sylvia. If you, oh, no, then she made it. It's okay. You don't have to.
Hi.
Hey.
I didn't want to talk about speaking. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. My question was more so pertaining to the topic of the room. I got in here a little bit, but I was just wondering, why can I hear my guides?
Okay.
Or not, just like how to connect better. And also, I was just curious as to how others hear their guides. I get a lot of signals and feelings and numbers and things of that nature. Like I'm on that level now, but as far
Wonderful.
as hearing them, and sometimes I hear songs that come randomly. But as far as like hearing things, I don't yet. So I was
Yeah.
just curious.
I don't, just FYI, I don't actually physically hear stuff either, if that's what you're talking about. I don't think I ever have actually heard, well, aside from songs, I also hear songs. But yeah, we definitely touched on that. I don't know if I'm making sure everybody's still here. Yeah, and so what we were talking about before you came in, I think, was that, and we did get kind of off topic. Sorry about that, but yeah, we're all kind of experiencing this kind of, okay, my guides are quiet. What's going on? I feel like I'm not getting any guidance. I'm not getting any direction. And so we all were sharing kind of our perspective. And for me, what I think has been, well, the message that I get is, because I tend to ask questions that I already know the answer to. And I think Eartha brought it up earlier, that she said, a lot of times we think we can't hear them when we don't like what they're saying. And we know what to do, but we hope that it's something different, right? Or that we want somebody to tell us, no, you don't have to do that, because that'll be super uncomfortable for you, right? So sometimes we can kind of tune them out, because we know what they're going to say, right? Or we know what they are saying. But as far as I think, and I think we can all agree on this, as far as the sometimes feeling disconnected, that is a very normal part of this process. We go in and out of that energy, and it really is that those are the times when we're really being asked to just tune inward, and to, like, for me, I know I fall into that, kind of perspective of my guides are somewhere outside of me, when we know better, right? We know that they're not, yet we still are like I'll literally like look up and go, where are you? And then I have to be reminded, they're not up there. They're not up in some, they're not, like I think Bianca said earlier, they're not floating, or Eartha. Archangel Michael isn't floating on a cloud. He's actually within us. He is the warrior, protector, angel energy of us. And so the guides, if ever you feel kind of a little bit forsaken, right, or just kind of abandoned, and that also comes from just, we all have that abandonment issue. Anyone who's here, I think, to help humanity with this process this time around, we all have dealt with abandonment, because the minute we got here, we were like, where is, my connection, right? And so we all have dealt with that abandonment. But yeah, I'll let Bianca, share your kind of perspective on that for Sylvia too, because I definitely want to stay on topic for the room.
So I lost connection for a moment.
Oh.
I hope I didn't kind of lose you guys in the conversation. Yeah, what we were experiencing, Sylvia, is just that within the last couple of days, we just have been struggling a little with hearing our guides, because we're more called towards focusing on our emotions and on our physical reality as it is, right? And not so much going into our spiritual abilities, because these the things that are happening right now on earth are kind of hit us like an emotional bomb, if I can say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really called to tune in and look at our emotions and be compassionate and hold space for others. So that's why our guides are like, there's no action to take, right? So there's no, go and do this or
Right.
move
Which
somewhere
is hard
else
for us
or
to hear,
be
right?
somewhere.
Because we want to do.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And we're really called right now to just do all the inner work, to look at what is arising within us as we're looking at the world and as we're looking at others and how they are responding to everything that is going on. And as of hearing the guides, like the literal hearing, I don't either. And I think there's very little people. I mean, you can have a conversation with your guides, like, talk to them
Mm-hmm.
kind of in your head, if that makes sense. but they're not going to come, like screaming at you in the middle of the day and saying, go left here, for example. It's more of a feeling, an intuition, or a resonance. And I feel that you're actually experiencing it very similar, because you said about feelings and about synchronicities and numbers and all that. That actually is how our guides are communicating with us. Because if there would be literally voices in our head, we should probably think if this is our ego telling us something rather than our
Yeah,
guides,
that's
because
what I was
they
going to
tend to
say.
be a
Yep,
bit more
agreed.
subtle, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yep. The ego likes to pretend to be our guides because the ego will keep us comfortable. The ego will keep us in our comfort zone, right? The ego is not going to tell you to, yes, grab that microphone and get on stage, because that's how you're going to get noticed. If that makes you nervous, the ego is going to go, no, 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 you're fine. You're fine back here hiding. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's a good point, because it's yeah, and we have to remember too, it's like we want the grand gestures, right? We want them to scream at us. We want them to drop the piano on our head, as I always say. But the whispers are how they operate, the numbers, the synchronicities. And I don't know about you guys, but boy, I can't go 2 minutes anymore without something in my face. And so my current situation, I can fall into I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be where I'm at. I don't want to be with who I'm with, anything about my situation. And then I'll see like 222. And so my guides are like, hey, dummy, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. And your task right now is to find a way for that to be okay, and to be in the moment, and realize that the moment is everything. The moment is where we create. The moment is all we have. The moment is the point of this existence, is each moment. And we are
also, I would like to point out that everything is a sign and synchronicity. Like, and talking to another person.
Yeah.
You two are some of my strongest spirit guides. Like probably in the ethereal too, and but most definitely here, most definitely here on Earth, you two are my spirit guides. Or a YouTube thing that I run across, or billboard, or whatever. Like not to be super. I know some people like to tease spiritual people and say, like, oh my God, spiritual people think that every single thing is a sign and synchronicity. Well, guess what? It is. Because we're creating this reality. So, you can call me crazy for thinking that, every black car I see is a reminder of my father or something like that, but it is.
Yeah.
So if that's what you feel, then that's what it is. It's to trigger an emotion.
Yeah. It may not mean anything to anybody else, but it's going to, like let's say a random number, like somebody said, well, I don't think it means anything, because I see like 72 all the time. And I'm like, well, does it mean something to you? Like, it doesn't have to be 777, right? If you're saying 72, there's something like, oh, well, my grandfather passed away when he was 72 and I haven't, you know what I mean? It could be something like that. It could be a very personalized message. So Sylvia, I guess what we're saying is, we're all feeling it. We're all experiencing, kind of like, we all can fall into that. Oh, well, my guides just are ignoring me, jerks, and we all get frustrated about it. But it's them reminding us we're here. And I just showed you 222. Why is that not enough? Like, stop thinking you have to do, like, we want direction, right? To, okay, what's the next step on my journey? Sometimes the next step is to go take a nap and to just replenish your physical body. Sometimes your next step is to take a walk in the woods and make sure no one is around, like, just to be totally alone. And so as much as we want to affect everybody, other people's lives and change lives and awaken, help everybody awaken and help them through their awakening process, we're still in these physical bodies that are going through a lot right now. And so I like to tell my guides, I'm like, well, it's not fair that I have this fire under my butt now, and they won't let me do anything with it. Because before, I spent 42 years in a as a zombie, right? I was a soccer mom, and I was just going through the motions, and I had zero, awareness of any of this. And then I had a grand awakening, and we've been talking about just the last few days, like, maybe we just want to be plugged back in. But when we truly think about where we were, hell no, I am never going back and we couldn't, right? We couldn't. There's no going back. But it's, we're always moving forward. I think Eartha was talking about this earlier. It's like even when we feel like we've got no communication with our guides, they're not talking to us, they're not showing us, they're not showing us the way. That was one thing I brought up earlier. Is I have just received a message, and it wasn't anything. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't a piano on my head. But when I said, I was trying to meditate, and I said, "Show me the way," I immediately heard, "You know the way. Stop asking us to show you the way, and remember that you already know it." And so it's definitely
Yeah.
a lot of it's in a way they're almost like screaming at us to stop, demanding that they talk to us, because they are, right? Like they're just like pounding on my door going, just stop, trying to force some connection that you already have. It's already right there. I don't know if this is helping at all, Sylvia. We're
No, it's helpful. It makes a lot of sense, and I
good.
appreciate all of your input on it.
Yeah, like we're right there with you. We're I think no matter where anybody is at on their path, we never claim to be ahead or behind anybody. Everybody's feeling this right now. We're all and we're all just being reminded to, hey, you already know the way. So stop trying to get other people to ask, or stop trying to ask other people, or other entities or other energies or something outside of you. Archangel Michael is you as the warrior protector energy. And if that's what you need right now, then you have, like Badat was saying, you have immediate access to that every minute of every day. They're right there. Yeah. So yeah. Well, we do try
It
to
also really gives me comfort just to I don't know, just for 1 second to expand into the fact that this is not just a bunch of us like wishfully thinking or
delusional,
imagining that imagining that like some giant like illusion that's cloaking the earth or something like that. This is the planetary movement that has been like predestined by the universe for millions and billions of years, and there's evidence of it literally everywhere. In Egypt, in Europe, in South America, in North America.
Aliens, and
I mean, and just remember, we are a part of this. We are here because this is the time to be here.
Right.
And and it's amazing. It is going to be amazing. It already is amazing. Just hold on.
Right.
We're gonna make it.
Hold on. It's so funny because hold on, but then what is the main thing?
But let go.
And then let go. Yeah. Hold on, but let go. Yeah. At the same time. Easy peasy. Got it, guys.
That's not confusing. Yeah.
No problemo. But yeah, it's more like hang on and let go of control, and let the current take you, and don't let it drown you. I guess know that it's not trying to drown you. Our resistance is what drowns us, right? Our resistance is what pulls us under, thinking that we are in danger when really this is all for our highest good. Every friggin' second of it, every frustrating devastating second of it. But it is definitely, if there's one message from this topic today, it is that you think they're not responding, but they are. And they're trying to teach us, they're trying to bring awareness to us, or to remind us that we are everything. They are just aspects of us. They're right here with us. And as we integrate them, we're not going to feel them as these outside entities anymore. And that's a good thing. But sometimes we want, we want, Merlin to just physically, show up. And, we all, I think we all kind of longed for that at some point, and maybe we still do here and there, is that, we long for the guide to be, we can physically see them, but nobody else can, right? And we can hear them, but nobody else can. And we have this amazing guide in our life, and it's just not the way, that's Hollywood, right? It's just not the way it's meant to go.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, thank you. So, what is your experience about intuition? Can you maybe share something about your intuition for making decision?
Oh, interesting. I'd like to tackle that if I may, because my experience with intuition, first of all, I never trusted it. For 42 years, I didn't trust it. We call it the gut instinct, whatever. And I happened to take a shaman course, and this beautiful woman, 80-year-old shaman, taught the class. Lovely, lovely lady. And I had never heard, I didn't realize that you could be taught to tune into your intuition. And what she taught me, I have never forgotten, and it has been a very foundational thing for me on my journey, is that when you tune into your intuition, and you can train yourself almost to feel this, is that most people actually, within their mind's eye, see their intuition in a certain spot in their body, in their energy. It may actually be outside your body. It might be in your body. Like, there were people in my class, when we were doing this exercise, and she said, okay, so ask, where's your intuition? And people were saying, oh, it's in the, top right corner of my skull, or it's in my knee, or wherever was perfect. That's where their intuition comes in for whatever reason. And so then she said, when you have a decision to make, I think because you asked specific about making decisions, when you have a decision to make, you can, this is how I teach my kids how to do it, just kind of a basic thing, but I say, if it's between A or B, put A in your left hand and B in your right hand, right? Close your eyes and just ask, what's the right one for me? And you're going to feel it or see it in a certain part of your body. And that that's your intuition if you've, trained yourself to feel that. But the important thing to remember is the intuition is going to be an instantaneous response, whereas the ego will wait a second and then kind of sneak in and try to, alter the true message based on if you're afraid, if it's outside your comfort zone, if it's, if you feel like you're in danger in any way because of it, your ego, our ego, we gave it the job to keep us safe. And so for making decisions anyway, just kind of a basic way that I do it, like I said, I taught my kids, is you're in your hands, A and B, and which one, I always tell my kids, which one feels lighter, that's the right decision. And that is tuning into your intuition, but you can also kind of find where it is in your body. If you, in a meditative state, can kind of test that, right? And see where, for me, it's for whatever reason, top, like my left side of my crown chakra is where I literally feel it, see it whenever I tune in. I don't know why. It doesn't really matter. But that was kind of my intro to intuition. Anyway, long story short, that is how I learned what your intuition is, how you can tune into it, and how to discern whether it's your intuition or the ego. Like I said, the intuition, now when I ask a question, I will get the response before I've finished the question, right? And then I know that's the intuition. Whereas the ego will wait like a split second, and then you'll hear the message, you'll hear the true message, and then the ego will come in and go, maybe it's not quite that, try to alter it. So that's how you can kind of discern. I don't know if that helps, if anybody else has any tips on how to
Well,
tune into intuition.
I think Bianca said this earlier too when she was talking about intuition, and it really, and that's kind of what I always feel is like, does saying the statement, whatever the statement is, like for me in my life right now, it's I am working at this job, right? Like just I'm not working at this job, I'm trying to make a decision about it, right? So but if I imagine myself in, this is a Abraham Hicks thing, yes, too, kind of, right? Like imagine yourself in whatever reality it is. Create that reality around yourself, whatever you're asking your intuition about. Create that reality, right? Like I'm now dating this person, or I now have this job. And whatever it is, if it makes you feel free, if it makes you feel joyous and free to experience that in your mind, that's your intuition telling you go this way. And if it makes you feel restricted or fearful, then that's, then that's
Right.
not,
And it
that's
should be
the
that
other path.
instantaneous kind of, no, that's
Right.
not
Yeah.
right, versus, ooh, that's outside my comfort zone, right? And
Right.
when you test it, yeah, when you do it daily, you'll see that more clearly, which one it is for sure. Yeah, I love that. And
Yeah.
I love
I don't
Abraham
think it's
Hicks.
really easy at first to feel that,
Yeah, no, it's not.
that joy, but it gets bigger. It gets more
It does.
discernible.
Yeah, sometimes the difference between the two is really small, but you'll
Right.
feel that. Yeah.
Well, and sometimes it doesn't matter. Like sometimes,
Yeah,
if you
true.
talk about your guides, there's been so many times where my guides, I've been like, oh my God, should I get the purple juice box or the, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
some stupid. And my guides are like, who cares?
Yeah.
Just pick one.
Either one.
It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either one.
So,
and that can be true even for decisions that we think are big, right? Like, oh, well,
right.
should I,
Yeah.
like, either way, our paths are that path is going to converge back to where we need it to be. Sometimes we need a little diversion, right? Sometimes we need a little we need the lesson to be a little more visceral. Sometimes we need, a little more trauma. And so we'll
Right.
choose that way.
Yeah.
But my guides will be like, well, you can go that way if you feel like you need this lesson to be hit home more. Or, you can say, okay, I've learned the lesson, and you can bypass that. But either way, you're getting to where you're going. But yeah, so but does that help at all as far as our perspective on, I have a feeling you have a pretty good handle on your intuition.
Okay, thank you. I just want to ask you about maybe your experience in improvement your intuition. Maybe have you ever been in the situation that you can use the energy from the planet or the energy from all the people around you to improve your intuition?
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So kind of just channeling the collective, basically, is what you're saying. The
Yes.
collective energy, yeah.
Or maybe tapping into the Akashic record is what
yeah.
that's kind of that's what I see that, right? Like that's like expanding your energy. You can do that, yeah, in meditation. I do that a lot when I'm trying to I guess it's not intuition, or it is intuition. It's more of like I'm trying to tune into the energy of the future, right? The unknown.
Right.
What unknown to me at this moment. And so then I kind of expand myself into the collective field and then ask that energy to present itself. So so that's, I guess, what
and that can
is
definitely
a technique.
Help you hone intuition. Yeah, because then the more you do it, I think, Badad, you start to feel, it feels familiar. Like, okay, I know that's my intuition, what I'm feeling versus the ego. But yeah, definitely, you can definitely expand. And, there's a little exercise that I have a friend who taught me this. It's a really quick one where you just tune into your heart space and expand that chakra, expand the energy bubble around your heart. Yeah, I think you were saying that, Eartha, until you've encompassed the entire universe. Really, you can do it that big. And then you can access, sorry, my cat is scratching next to me. You can access that unlimited knowledge of the universe for at least even that split second or however long you can hold that. And that really is your intuition, is that connection to the all that is, right? To everything. So it's really just, it's kind of like, unfortunately, it's kind of like push-ups, Badad. The only way to get better at it is to do push-ups. You can't really do anything else. Go ahead.
Yes. So I absolutely agree with you. It's meditation. Eartha, it's a very very good advice tips.
Good.
Because in meditation we can use the law of focus. That means when we focus on something and then we will use the rest of the energy and then focus in that, and then we can improve that. Yes, we can improve that. We can involved us. And but I think intuition is something, is also a wish experience. It connect with experience, and with our, maybe with our wisdom,
Yep.
and that's mean when we make a decision, and then there are lots of it depend on a lot of sector, and that's why for example, in our wisdom, our experience, and our how can we use our teacher best, and and sometime I think the wisdom is good, is for analyze the more logic, and the experience is depend on the age. It depends on how many mistakes we made in the past, or
Sure.
how, or the knowledge we learn from other resources, books, or coach, a mentor, etc. And but the energy is help us to maybe a little about feeling, or a little about stomach feel, and that's why, and you know for difficult case to make decision, we just have about maybe 10% or until 20% information from the situation, and we must
Sure.
we must make the decision very fast, and that's why in this case we can practice our intuition. But but if we don't have experience, if we practice intuition not so much, we will lost easy in to make a decision. And have you ever gotten the experience or in this situation to make decision? That means you just got maybe 10% of information, but you might make decision maybe in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in this situation,
Yeah.
Wendy, Eartha?
Definitely. And I think for me anyway, and I, like I said, we've all been there where we've made what we perceive as the wrong choice, right? A lot of times we can still switch to the right, to the other choice. But for me, I would say it's that instantaneous, like that was kind of a game changer for me when I realized that the true guidance would be instantaneous. Like it's the first thing you hear, it's the first thing you feel, it's the first thing, the first message that will come through is the true guidance. Whereas your ego then might come in and go, well, don't do it exactly like that. Maybe do it, maybe put 50% into it. But that's your ego trying to keep you safe. And so that, yeah, I definitely have been in that situation, and I've definitely made probably the decision that was more painful that ended up being, I try not to say I made a mistake. There's no mistakes, there's only choices, right? And everything is an opportunity for growth. It's just sometimes we take the longer road. And so we think of that as a mistake, right? We made a mistake when really we probably needed that longer road. We needed that lesson to be, like I said, earlier, to be kind of pounded in a little harder. But yeah, for me, it's just that instantaneous, like what is my body telling me? What is the instant? And 60 seconds, honestly, is actually a long time. But if you're talking about, like, there have been situations where I've had to make a decision in 5 seconds, say, then I go with that instant, with literally my gut instinct without thinking, right? Like try not to think about it and just, which choice is coming through. And again, that's not always been the easiest one. Sometimes it's
right.
it's
But
a little
there's
more
been
painful.
so many times that it has, so
Right.
too, Wendy.
Yeah. And I think it gets more and
like
more.
you're talking about, you're talking about that it hasn't, but it has. And your whole entire life, if you want to get into like a fine-tooth comb about your life,
Sure.
like I've had a million lifetimes in one life. In
Yeah.
this, I chose a really complicated life.
Yeah.
It hasn't been bad. It's been really good, most of it. And but it's complicated.
Right.
And the complicated, and time and again in my life, people have been like, how did you, even think to do that? How did you choose that? Or why? And most of the time, the good decisions I have made in a split second. in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And I have not changed my mind about it. I have not let my ego get in the way of it. So listen to the
and
first
would you
thing,
say that was
like
even
Wendy was
before
saying.
you were really aware that there was a difference between
Yeah,
the
before I
intuition and
was
the ego?
aware.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only been at this game for 2 years.
You have, because I met you. We met like
yeah.
you were in the throes of your awakening, of your initial awakening.
Yeah. So every decision that I made prior to 2 years ago was also, it's always based on your intuition. And I can think back and recall making these decisions and having people be like, "You're crazy," and I'm like, "Well, this just feels right."
You're gonna join the Peace Corps and live in South America? What the hell are you thinking? Yeah. Well, and I was, like you said, my life has definitely not been quite as well. I don't want to say not quite as exciting, but definitely easier decisions, I guess. But when I was because I was in college majoring, I was an opera singer in college, and then I went into the Air Force, and everybody was like, "What are you doing? Like those two do not go together." And I was like, "I know they don't go together. I want to be both. I want to be both of these things." So yeah, definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
And that goes back to expansion again, just quickly. Like did it make you feel expanded? Yes.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for the experience of both worlds, very different worlds. Very different worlds. I wanted to see if Jason just came on stage. I don't like that term, right? I don't want to scare anybody, but if Jason wanted to jump in here and share what he's been feeling about the topic, we are trying to stay on topic, about your guides. Jason, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, my name is Jason. I'm from clairvoyant intuitive.
Awesome. Welcome.
All the clairs.
All the clairs.
All the clairs.
Right. So you were talking about your ego and everything, and I was listening to it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that is. So sometimes sometimes our ego kicks in, and then sometimes the entities kick in.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and remember, the entities only kick in when we let them. So I feel like the ego is kind of opening the door, right? So the ego always has a hand in it.
Well, yes and no. And the reason I say yes and no is yes in one way correct, but in the other way no, because some of these entities have been with us for a very long time, since 1, 2, 3 years of age, and we don't know they're there, and we think those thoughts are ours. So that's why I say no in what you just said. But I also say yes because there is perspective where that works, but no, it doesn't, because they've been there all of our lives. So it's up to us to with the awareness that comes with that, is to really be discerning of, not really, but just to be discerning about the thoughts and the things that are going through our heads.
True, that is very.
And whether if that's true for us any longer, and that's why I say no.
That's a very good point you bring up, because there definitely has been times, and I think everybody has experienced, whether they know it or not, everybody's experienced having entity attachments. And I definitely have had that where I'm like, I get the instantaneous guidance, but it doesn't feel good. And so I'll tune in and go, okay, because I've definitely had some imposters. I had a entity pretending to be Archangel Michael, who was a very strong guide. He still is a very strong guide for me, but was like a lifesaver guide for me for a long time. Like he kept me going. And I had an entity come in and pretend to be him. And I didn't have the awareness until it was probably a couple weeks, maybe even longer. But when the guidance would come through, it didn't feel good, right? Like it gave me this pit in my stomach. And so but not always. Like you're absolutely right, we can have those. And ultimately I actually do this with clients. I actually help remove entities. I can at least, sometimes I've not been able to, but I've been able to move energy out of the way, and the entities leave on their own, or the client is able to remove the entity. It all depends on what the energy is telling me to do. But entities ultimately, and I think you already know this because you don't sound like you're in a lot of fear about it, but they have no power over us. Ultimately, we allowed them in. We for whatever reason, because we're too afraid. When we gave our ego the job to drive the to pilot the plane, to drive the boat, whatever analogy you want. Is because we were too afraid to truly engage in this life, because there's so much to be afraid of. And so we kind of stepped back. We made the ego take over. It's like telling a toddler, here, drive the car, right? And somehow we still got here. And so when we kind of checked out halfway, we let a lot of things come in. But that doesn't mean that we've, lost our power to take over again, to step back in. But definitely, I agree. You absolutely have a really good point. We hadn't gone down the entity road yet, but yeah, that's very true. Thank you for sharing that,
Yeah.
Jason.
And I would like to just jump in and say, I have also experienced entities. Like you said, I think we all have.
Yeah. A lot of people have them now and don't know it. Yeah.
I was going to say, and my partner actually has entities and is aware of them, but they are so strong,
yeah,
that they will jump in, and he will know. He'll have the discernment, like Jason, you were saying, like, you can discern if this is one of your entities, kind of coming through you or not, but it's still there. Like it's just hanging out with you all the time.
And we can be terrified of it, or we can just be, okay, well.
Right. Or you could be angry at it, or you could be whatever, but you can be accepting of it. And I think eventually, once your acceptance, forgiveness, love of yourself and of this entity grows, that's when they leave. If you other than having an energetic, if you're not going to be open to an energetic healing, heal yourself through accepting that this entity exists within you, has been taking this driver's seat for a while, and just refuse to accept that they're driving anymore, and just say, like you do with your ego, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll take
for
the wheel
for
now.
Saving me, for protecting me.
Thanks for getting me.
But you're not protecting me. You are, you're making my life difficult, and so now it's time for you to go. It's time for you to not make these decisions anymore. I'm no longer going to accept that as my reality.
And I want to point out too, and I know Eartha, you'll agree with this, is, we can, whenever something doesn't feel right, and if it even feels like your intuition, if you say, are you of the light, or whatever way you want to phrase that, a negative entity cannot lie. Mm-hmm. It is a universal law. They have to tell you if they are not of the light. And most of the time, if they're not, they won't answer. They'll just leave. They'll be like, shit. She discovered that I wasn't of the light. They have to tell the truth.
Well, it's not necessarily have to tell the truth. It's that they'll skate around the question.
Well, sure, they can do that too. But then that they're not of the light, right?
Yes and no. That I see what you're saying. But yeah, I agree with you. But they're very tricky. They're very, very tricky, and it's very subtle.
Yeah.
They know they've been with you since 5, 2, 1, right when you came down into the birth canal. Yeah. And so they know how to infiltrate and how to mimic and how to what's the word when you want to tell somebody to do something and they do it. So they know how to do all those things. Yeah, and they know how to manipulate the answers to where you'll feel comfortable with what they're telling you.
Of course.
They're very good. They're very good.
Yeah.
And so I understand what you're saying is still leave, but there's also, when they leave, there's also a portal how they came in. So it's up to us to close down that portal.
Yep.
How they came in.
Absolutely.
And say, okay, how did you come in here? Okay, great. I needed this. You came in. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
What's your story? Yada yada yada. Okay, what are you feeding off of? Okay, let me give you everything of that what you want. And that's how I do it.
Okay.
Some of them
sounds like a great process. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then some of them just like, you're not allowed here, but it's just so much easier just to give them everything they want. And then they get fat and happy, and they're like, okay, time for you to go to the light. Let's bring you this light source, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever.
And then you're there, and 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 then you do that, and then what I do is I just double check, triple check that they're there, because sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah,
and
it's
a lot
nice.
of a lot of times they can come back in. Yeah, especially if you're talking about a long-term, like a lifelong. And of course, there are some too.
One that you invited because of trauma. A lot of times,
absolutely.
If you invited an entity because of trauma, then it's there for a long time.
And sometimes you can come in with them from a past life.
Right.
They can be part of, and maybe you're just not aware of them till you're 4 or 5 or whatever. But I mean, I definitely feel like you're speaking from personal experience. So yeah, it was like, I'm getting kind of the term imaginary friend. Was it kind of an imaginary friend situation where it made you think that that's what the situation was, and then as you got older you realized what was really going on?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. Just curious
Oh
how
yeah.
much you're willing to share.
Yeah, they were personal friends. You know, they've been there for a while now. I just haven't, and I wasn't aware of that they were there. But once I understood that there were techniques that you could use to understand it, and now when people are talking to me and they have these thoughts in their head, and I listen to them, what I'll do is I'll be like, oh, ask that thought where it's coming from. Ask that thought where it's at. And 99% of the time is that if they know what's going on, they'll be like, oh, that's not my voice. And so what happens is people identify with the voices in their head. They think they're theirs,
Sure.
and when it's not, because if you believe that we come from the source, light, love, whatever the case may be, then it's love. And everybody's definition of love is very, very, very. It's very general. But
Sure, yeah.
then you can say, okay, well, if you think that, oh, you're a piece of shit, oh, you're not doing anything right, you can't do this, that's not a love statement, and then you automatically know that that is not your voice. It's another voice coming in that's camouflaged as your voice, just to make you see that, to make you feel that it is your voice, so you can stay where you are, so they can keep on feeding off your energy of that, of being, oh, you can't do this, oh, you're not good enough, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, but for me,
Yeah,
it's really
very
really
good.
simple to identify them, and it's really really simple for me to
Good. Yeah.
release them away from
Yeah.
people as well.
Great. Yeah, and that's going to be, I mean, I definitely think that skill, if you're like in the practitioner business already or thinking about it, that skill is definitely going to be necessary coming up as large, you know, quantities of the population awaken and realize that because there are, there's an energetic attachment. There's also AI that we are
Mm-hmm.
going to be dealing with. That a lot of people have those kind of attachments too, and they have no there's no source connected to those, right? They're strictly mechanical and have no regard for your journey or your safety or any of that. And so there's that too. And each one, and it comes down to too, what works for that person. Like you said, you figured out how to do it based on what works for you, and everybody's got their own perspective, right, of what they are. Like I might even say that it's like somebody might say, well, I have an entity, but all I might see in their energy, if I'm working on them, is a trauma coming to the surface that they have given life to. And so they see it as an entity. I'm not saying what you're seeing is not entities, but everybody's got their own perspective of what's going on in their energy. And so it could be just a trauma coming through, but they're seeing it as like I've had people come to me, I have a demon, and I'm like, okay, well, let's look. First of all, they got nothing on you. Like, you are more powerful, I promise you, every time. And so we look, and it's like, well, it's this trauma that you have buried so deep, and it's grown and grown and grown, and you see it as a demon now, because you think that it's stronger than but really you built it up in your mind, right, to be bigger than it really was, and it's a trauma coming through. But at the same time, I got to think too, these are all just labels, right? It's the same thing. Everything is an aspect of us. We invite anything in that we think will help us grow on some level, and we release them or let them go exactly when we're supposed to, right, when we're ready to. And so, yeah, it's all about the so definitely, I think the point here too is that things can masquerade as your intuition, absolutely. And part of this journey is to grow your discernment for what is really my intuition, and what is my ego, or what is something else, a third thing. So yeah, very good. I am going to wrap this up because we do like to keep it in an hour. We've been going over an hour and a half plus now, but I don't know, Eartha, if you have anything else to close it up with, or if Jason, if you want to say anything else, let's have some wrap up comments now, and then we'll call it a day. We'll let everybody get back to their day.
No, you've been great. Thank you for inviting me up.
Oh yeah, thank you for being here, and I love your contribution. It was beautiful, and we always love having the men in. It's usually all women, and we're like, yay! We get a little excited when a man comes in because we love the divine masculine perspective of this journey. So yeah, definitely, Jason. We try to be here every Tuesday at 1:30 Eastern. So if you can join us again, that'd be great. Eartha, anything you want to leave us with? I think we
Yeah,
lost
just
Bianca.
I guess just perspective, right? Like just remember who you are,
Yep.
and that your perspective is the universe's perspective, and you have incredible power and light and love
Yes.
that you can always share.
Right.
So,
Yeah. That's been a big one for
and your
me.
guides are listening, and your guides are talking to you in many ways.
They are, we promise. You know, we want the grand gesture, and they're whispering, and we tend to ignore the whispers and demand the grand gesture, and they're like, not how it works.
Nope.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so the one message we want to leave you all with is, you know, they're asking us to really go in right now and to realize that everything is in there. There's nothing outside of you. So stop
Right.
asking something outside of you for guidance, because you know the way. You already know the
Yes.
way. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Wendy.